Okay, 10.2, unbiased and biased samples. So we're talking about when somebody is doing a survey, if it is biased or an unbiased interview or collection of data, I guess. So to get valid results, a sample must be chosen very carefully. An unbiased sample is selected so that it accurately represents the entire population. Two ways to pick an unbiased sample are listed below. So the description of a simple random sample is each item or person in the population is as likely to be chosen as any other. An example of this is each student's name is written on a piece of paper. The names are placed in a bowl and the names are picked without looking. So my spinner would be a simple random sample when I use the spinner to choose names. Systematic random sample. The items or people are selected according to a specific time or item interval. So every 20th person is chosen from an alphabetical list of all students attending a school. That would be everybody has an equally likely ability to be chosen. So that would be an unbiased sample. In a biased sample, one or more parts of the population are favored over others. Two ways to pick a biased sample are listed below. So a convenient sample. So a convenient sample consists of members of a population that are easily accessed. An example would be to represent all the students attending a school. The principal surveys the students in one math class. If that were an upper level math class, she might be only interviewing then the really smart kids, which wouldn't be a fair assessment of everybody's abilities. Voluntary response sample is a voluntary response sample. It involves only those who want to participate in the sampling. Students at a school who wish to express their opinions complete an online survey. So if you're only taking the opinions of those who care, it's probably people that feel very strongly one way or the other, and those that are neutral aren't going to fill it out. So you're not going to have a good response of everyone. You're only going to have the passionate responses. 1A, a random sample of students at a middle school shows that 10 students prefer listening to rock, 15 students prefer listening to hip hop, 25 students prefer no music while they work out. It can be concluded that half the students prefer no music while they exercise. Is the sample method valid? And yes, it is, because this is a simple random sample. They just chose randomly students, so that means it's a simple random sample. And that makes it that simple random samples are unbiased, so yes, this is valid. 1B, one classroom of students is surveyed to determine the theme for the spring dance. Out of 25 students, 15 chose Blast from the Past. The dance committee concluded 60% of the students like this theme best. Is this sample method valid? And it is not, because it is a convenient sample, because they just walked into one classroom. They didn't feel like going from door to door, so they walked into one classroom. And what if they had walked into the history nerds of all history nerds? You know, they're just the ones that sit around and they study the World War all the time, or, you know, like they love studying about history. They might choose Blast from the Past, where if you went to the math nerds, they might choose like a geeking out theme or something like that. So that is why it is a biased sample, because they did not necessarily take a equal distribution of their students. They just surveyed the history class. Every 10th person who walks into a department store is surveyed to determine his or her music preference. Out of 150 customers, 70 stated that they prefer rock music. The manager concludes that about half of all customers prefer rock music. Is this conclusion valid? And it is, because it is a systematic random sample. Systematic random sample. And yes, this is valid. Janet surveyed the athletes on the girls' field hockey team to determine which sports teenagers like best. Of these, 65% said that they like field hockey best. Janet concluded that over half of teenagers like field hockey best. Is this sample method valid? No, this is a convenience sample. And it is biased. Because of course the field hockey players are going to say that their sport's the favorite. The cheerleaders are going to say theirs is the favorite. The basketball players might say, the girl basketball players might say volleyball, but they also play basketball. But the majority of them are probably going to say basketball because that's the season they're in and that's what they're playing. So it is biased. A store sells 3 types of pants: jeans, capris, and cargos. The store workers survey 50 customers at random about their favorite type of pants. The survey responses are 25 jeans, 15 capris, and 10 cargos. If 450 pairs of pants are ordered, how many should be jeans? So the first thing we need to do is say, is this valid? Which it is because it was a random sample. And then we figure out how many pants did they have total, so 25, or how many people did they survey total. So 25 plus 15 is 40, plus 10 is 50. And of the 50, how many chose jeans? That's 25. So you could say 1/2. I'm going to reduce it just for the ease of setting out my proportion. And then I'm going to do 450. And I'm trying to figure out how many jeans am I going to order. So I take 2 times x is 2x. And I take 1 times 450 is 450. Then I divide by 2 on both sides. And x equals 225. I circle it, and that's my answer. There is another way you could do this. You could say that 50% chose jeans. So you do 50 times 450, or 50% times 450, and that's 225.